The chandeliers of the Grand Pearl Hall shimmered like frozen stars above my sister Alina's wedding. Crystal glasses clinked, silk gowns brushed across marble floors, and laughter rose in soft, practiced waves. Everything looked expensive. Everything looked perfect. Everything except me. I stood near the back of the hall, smoothing invisible wrinkles from my simple navy dress. I had chosen it carefully, elegant but quiet. My mother had warned me twice not to draw attention. Tonight was about Alina, the pride of the family. The successful one, the beautiful one, the one who had married up. Relatives floated past me with polite smiles. "So what are you doing these days?" one aunt asked, already half distracted by someone more important behind me. "I run a cleaning company," I replied, her eyebrows lifted slightly. "Oh, that's nice, nice. The kind of word people use when they don't know what else to say." Later during dinner, I overheard my father laughing at his table of business acquaintances. "Yes, Alina always had ambition," he said proudly. "She knew she was meant for something bigger." Someone asked about me. My father waved his hand dismissively, not even glancing in my direction. "She just cleans houses, keeps herself busy." The table chuckled politely. "Just cleans houses." The words sank into my chest like cold stones. They didn't know about the 4 a.m. mornings when I scrubbed floors beside the women I hired because I couldn't yet afford supervisors. They didn't know about the nights I studied contracts and tax laws from free online courses. They didn't know that Sapphire Domestic Services wasn't just cleaning houses. It managed luxury villas, corporate offices, and high-rise apartments across the city. They only knew what sounded small. Across the hall, Alina looked breathtaking in ivory silk, her smile effortless, her posture flawless. She caught my eye and waved lightly. I waved back. I loved my sister. None of this was her fault, but love doesn't cancel comparison. My mother stood to make a toast, tapping her glass. "We are so proud of our daughter Alina," she announced warmly. She has always reached high and chosen wisely. Applause filled the room, and of course, she added, almost as an afterthought, "We are grateful for our other daughter, too. She works hard. She just cleans houses, but work is work." Laughter rippled again. Heat flooded my face, but I forced a smile. Work is work. Yes, it is. But dignity is dignity, too. And as the music swelled, and the bride and groom rose for their first dance, I made a silent promise to myself. One day, they would say my name without shrinking it. One day, no one would dare put the word just in front of what I built. The music inside the hall grew louder as the night deepened, drums, laughter, and the sharp clink of glasses rising in celebration. I slipped out onto the balcony, needing air. The cool breeze brushed against my heated skin, carrying away the sting of my mother's words. She just cleans houses. I stared down at the city lights below. Every glowing window reminded me of the spaces I had scrubbed, polished, and managed. Places people admired without ever thinking about who made them shine. "You shouldn't let them talk about you like that." The voice startled me. I turned slowly. Hassan stood a few steps away, jacket unbuttoned, tie loosened slightly as if even he needed a break from perfection. Up close, he looked less like the confident groom everyone admired and more like a man thinking too much. "You're supposed to be inside," I said carefully. "It's your wedding." He gave a faint smile, I know. Silence stretched between us, heavy but not uncomfortable. "I didn't realize," he continued, "that your family downplays you." I let out a soft laugh. "They don't downplay me. They define me. And incorrectly," he said firmly. His tone caught my attention. "What do you mean?" Hassan stepped closer, lowering his voice. "You're the founder of Sapphire Domestic Services, aren't you?" My heart skipped. "Yes," I replied slowly. "Why?" He studied my face as if confirming something important. "My company signed a multi-year facilities management contract with Sapphire last month." For a moment I thought I misheard him. "Your company, Hassan Nadim Developments," he clarified gently. "We own 3 commercial towers downtown, 2 hotels, and several residential projects. Sapphire handles maintenance and cleaning operations." The city lights blurred for a second. "You're telling me," I said carefully, "that my company services your properties." "Yes, and you knew I was the owner," he nodded. "I always research the leadership behind companies I partner with." He explained, "When I saw your name, I was impressed. Impressed." No one at that wedding had used that word about me. My parents don't know. I murmured. I assumed they did. I shook my head. He exhaled slowly. That explains a lot. We stood in silence again, but this time it felt charged. "Dangerous, you're marrying my sister." I reminded him, needing to anchor the moment. "Yes," he said quietly. There was something unfinished in his voice, something neither of us dared explore. "I built my business from nothing," I said finally. "Not to prove anything to them, just to survive. And you built something powerful," he replied. Inside, the crowd cheered as Alina tossed her bouquet. Outside, under the night sky, the groom looked at me not like I was just anything. For the first time that evening, I didn't feel small. I felt seen. The morning after the wedding felt heavier than the night before. The celebration continued with a formal brunch, polished tables, soft violin music, and carefully arranged smiles. Important guests remained in attendance, business partners, extended relatives, people whose opinions my parents valued more than truth. I arrived early. This time, I did not dress to blend in. I wore a tailored white suit, sharp lines, structured shoulders, confidence stitched into every seam. My heels clicked against the marble floor with steady purpose. Conversations paused as I passed. Some guests looked confused. Others curious. My mother approached me immediately, her voice tight. "Why are you dressed like that?" "Like what?" I asked calmly. "Like you're presenting something. Maybe I am." Her lips pressed into a thin line. At the front of the hall stood a large projector screen, prepared for a sentimental slideshow. Alina had organized childhood photos, engagement pictures, carefully curated memories. But before the program began, Hassan rose from his seat and walked toward the microphone. A murmur moved through the room. "I'd like to share something before we continue," he announced, his tone steady but firm. Alina looked surprised but smiled politely, assuming it was another romantic gesture. Hassan gestured toward the screen. Instead of childhood photos, a sleek corporate logo appeared, Sapphire Domestic Services. A ripple of confusion spread through the crowd. "As many of you know," Hassan continued, "Hassan Nadim Developments has recently expanded its portfolio. Our operational efficiency and property management success are due to a strategic partnership." Charts replaced the logo. Growth statistics, performance metrics, testimonials from luxury clients. Photos of pristine hotel lobbies and gleaming office towers flashed across the screen. My father leaned forward in his chair. "And the founder and CEO of that company," Hassan said clearly, "is someone in this room." Silence thickened. He turned toward me, this remarkable woman. Every head followed his gaze. I walked forward slowly, aware of the weight of every step. My heart pounded, but my spine remained straight. "I started cleaning houses," I said into the microphone. My voice did not shake, because we needed money, because no job is beneath dignity. The room was utterly silent. "Yes," I continued, meeting my parents' stunned expressions, "I clean houses, I clean offices, I clean luxury hotels and corporate towers." A pause. "I also built a company that employs over a dozen women who were told they were just something too." A quiet clap began from one of the business guests. Then another, then many. Applause filled the hall, not polite this time, but genuine. My mother's eyes glistened, though I couldn't tell if it was pride or shame. My father sat frozen. Alina's smile had faded into something complicated: shock, confusion, maybe even betrayal. But this wasn't revenge through cruelty. This was revelation, and for the first time in my life, I wasn't standing in anyone's shadow. I was standing in my own light. The applause didn't fade quickly. It lingered in the air, thick and undeniable. Not forced, not polite, real. I stepped back from the microphone, but something had already shifted in the room. The same relatives who had laughed the night before now looked at me differently, curious, impressed, calculating. Businessmen whispered to one another. A few even nodded in approval. My parents looked stunned. My mother approached me first when the crowd began to disperse. "Why didn't you tell us?" she asked, her voice trembling. Not with anger, but with something closer to regret. I held her gaze. I tried. "You never asked." The words weren't sharp. They didn't need to be. My father joined us, his usual confidence replaced by discomfort. We thought it was small work, he admitted quietly. We didn't understand. You didn't try to understand. I corrected gently. There's a difference. Across the hall, Elena stood near Hassan. She looked beautiful, but something in her expression had changed. The effortless certainty she always carried was cracked. Later, she found me alone near the dessert table. "Did you plan this?" she asked, her voice tight. "No," I said honestly. I didn't plan to be hidden either. Her eyes flickered with emotion. "You could have told me. I thought you knew." Silence stretched between us, heavy with years of comparison neither of us created, but both of us lived under. "This was my day," she whispered. "I never wanted to take that from you." I replied softly. I just stopped shrinking. Her expression softened slightly. Not fully understanding, but beginning to. Over the following weeks, things changed. Relatives who once pitied me now asked for business cards. Invitations to networking events appeared. My phone rang with partnership inquiries. The same people who had used the word, just now used words like visionary and impressive. It was almost ironic, but the sweetest part of the revenge wasn't the recognition, it was the freedom. 1 month later, I sat in my office overlooking the city skyline. Contracts for expansion into 2 new cities lay open on my desk. Sapphire Domestic Services was growing faster than I had imagined. Hassan sat across from me not as my sister's groom, but as a business partner. "You changed the narrative," he said quietly. "No," I replied, signing the final page of the contract. I stopped letting others write it. Outside the window, the city gleamed towers my company maintained, spaces my team cared for, proof of every early morning and every tear swallowed in silence. My parents eventually began introducing me differently. "This is our daughter," they would say now. She built a company, and no shrinking, and that was the real victory, because sweet revenge isn't loud. It's standing tall in the same room where you were once made small, and realizing you no longer need anyone's permission to shine.